Hello, everybody. Starting very shortly with WTF is MFW Part 2. Did a special a couple of weeks back, kind of giving the background, the inspiration behind a lot of the things here in MFW. Hello, Mrs. Tiki God. Hello, Steel City Fuzz. Good to see you guys. And, yeah, I guess we'll kind of get started here. Again, at any time, if somebody wants to chime in with a question in the chat, I will try to address that. Today on WTF is MFW, we are going to highlight the rest of the roster that we didn't get to, talk about some of those people, the inspirations behind them, if there's any jokes or references attached to them. And then after that, we are going to go into a storyline recap of the last 15 weeks of MFW TV, kind of wrap that all up and get everybody ready for New Year's Fire tomorrow night, MFW TV episode 16, which should be a big show. And following that on Gambler PCP will be Port City Pro. He's got a card that's titled with a big, he's got a card that's headlined with a big title match. Rampage Hunter taking on Jenkins. Should be a really good show. I love those Thursday nights where we end up kind of making a doubleheader between the two of us. I think it's Hi Revelation X. Good to see you. I'm well, thanks. So to go into what this is all about here, let's talk about some more of the folks on the roster. I've got Luchador Del Lagos headlined. He's a luchador from Minnesota. He tags with Minnesota, and they are the team of Lucha del Norte. He's just a little feller, wiry, only coming up on his 20th birthday. His finisher is the big splashdown. That is a top rope twisting 450, if I remember correctly, and he hits it pretty often. As far as Lucha del Norte go, between him and Minnie, they're on a little bit of a slump. They are going to try to remedy that coming up Thursday. They will be in action, so... moving on, Iron Montaigne. His finisher is the big up-down. That's an Iron Claw Slam. And he is just a big powerhouse of a man. He tags with SK Naba, who we'll see in a second here. She's a little luchador. He's a big powerhouse. They're a fun mix of styles. They make a pretty good team on paper. In practice, they have not had much luck at all since starting up in MFW. Iron's voices are those of Juice Robinson, which leads to some funny bits. He occasionally calls people a dumbass, or occasionally yells out different things, and he's kind of cocky. He's a good humor. How long has LDL wrestled? I believe he's only a 2-year pro, so he's very fresh, but he hangs in with the best of them, being, I mean, relatively speaking, a rookie, you know, with only a couple of years in. So good question, Mrs. Tiki God. I appreciate that. Yeah, that really ended up being a good fit for Iron. I believe the voice is given to him. SK Naba, the the compact luchadora from the upper. So anyway, and going back to quote-unquote jokes or references, Iron Montaigne and SK Naba, I hope fairly obviously, are references to the towns in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Thus, they are the tag team, the Yoopers. SK Naba uses a lot of kicks and chops. She has a big top rope elbow that she hits often with her own version of "Oh yeah," the kind of the Macho Man thing going on. Her finisher is the Moonlight, SK Naba in the Moonlight, bump. That is a Code Red. So the quick flip power bomb, or sunset flip power bomb, however you want to call it there. Now on to New Jill. New Jill is the queen of the streets, and given kind of an orange jumpsuit, she is definitely an ode to ECW original New Jack. So thusly New Jill. She is a bruiser, short and compact, and a very rough customer, uses tons of foreign objects or international objects depending on your tendencies, or depending on wow, I totally lost the word I was looking for there. That's okay. Her finisher, the buckshot gut shot, is a fireman's carry to a gut buster. She launches him up and drops him on both their knees, right in the stomach. And she tags with Harry Blackstone. Harry Blackstone will be facing Captain Cheesecurd Thursday night, and whoever wins that match will have their third win to challenge MFW champion Victor Hinks. So, but yeah, New Jill, rough and tumble, as nasty as they come. Yuri the Bear Grognoff. He was first brought into MFW by the lead official, Red Hansen, to be an enforcer to keep law and order. He ended up getting some help when Sergeant SPG joined him, and they became the Enforcers, the tag team. Very good tag team, very successful so far. Yuri the Bear references a webcomic that was named For My City that was done by Vic Sketch, who's often on the channel here. I know he's feeling under the weather, so I don't know if he's going to end up in here today or not. But I wish him well. I know he's got a cold that's just kicking his butt. For My People, the finisher is a Powerbomb DVD or Death Valley Driver combo. So, but Yuri, the way he's built is a bunch of hard, big swing strikes and just bone-rattling suplexes. He has been known to occasionally hit a release German suplex that launches people out of the ring. And he is just a big, powerful beast of a man. Next, we're going to highlight Ultimo Pinguino. She will also be in action Thursday night in a MFW Master of the Death match title bout. That match will be held in a exploding barbed wire, exploding ring. The exploding ring timer is set at 15 minutes. If there's not been a winner by then, the ring will explode. and she will be taking on the MOD champion, the Costa Co-Ed Holly Ames, who has definitely been a force to be reckoned with in MFW since the start. We'll learn a little more about her reign of terror once we start going into the story recap part of the show today. So, Ultimo Pinguino may or may not again be modeled after someone in the chat. Her finishing move, the one-flippered penguin, is the one-winged angel used by Kenny Omega. She also has another kind of finisher, the Cypher Utaki we refer to as the French Flipper, which is a somewhat filthy reference from the movie Batman Returns. Danny DeVito's version of the Penguin makes mention of it. The Penguin, Ultimate Penguin, Mrs. Tiki God has outed herself as the inspiration for Ultimo Pinguino. Ultimate Penguin throws a ton of chops, which is a flipper frenzy, as it were. So she's been a lot of fun and has been very good and successful thus far in action. Also, to quickly mention, she is the only person on the roster to have survived a Proving Ground match thus far. To go back a second, one of the ways people can earn a title opportunity in MFW is by winning or reaching a draw in a Proving Ground match against the current champion. So Ultimo Pinguino lasted 15 minutes in a landmine death match against Holly Ames, thus earning her shot come Thursday night on New Year's Fire. Sergeant SPG, he came in to be a help to Yuri Grognov, another enforcer. They have made a very successful tag team thus far. Like stated before, Perp subdued. His finisher is the go to sleep knee made famous by Kenta and CM Punk. He also uses a finger snap that Marty Scurll and Pete Dunne have also been using. The Bulldog headlock named the K9, which Steel City, that's I like that. That's an admirable goal. I think that would be a brilliant cosplay for you, sir. Sergeant SPG, lots of knees, lots of arm locks, shoulder tackles, things that would probably be used to actually subdue someone on the run from an officer. So back the blue. That's what we say here. Victor Hinks, our champion, I believe we've addressed him before. Low-Cal Jobert. His finisher, the Low-Cal Flavor, is simply a pile driver. Much about Cal Jobert is simple because if you say Low-Cal Jobert a bit different, you get local jobber, and that is exactly what he is meant to be. I've heard that he may be in action as well Thursday, and he might actually stand a shot at winning that match. I guess we'll see on the show. 5 big matches on New Year's Fire Thursday night. So there'll be a lot to look forward to and a lot to see there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Yeah, there are a few folks here that I need to get back to. that I haven't talked about yet that are on the roster. And hey, that gets us a change of background music, so that's not a bad thing. Karen Mothersbaugh. She is a Karen. Probably the most not as positive reference that is made here on the roster, perpetrating that stereotype. But finishing move, call the management. Surprise there. She needs a manager. She teams with Don Bucher, and they make up the tag team of Trailer Thrash. You know, more stereotypes, but I digress. She uses a bunch of submissions and a lot of open hands. I know it's Steel City. I know it's a submission. I want Revelation X. I don't believe so yet. During the MFW shows that I've run so far. At least not in quote unquote this version of MFW. To kind of explain that quick for you, I was running my fire promoter game using all the kind of extra characters that Spike threw in. And death matches on there. There might have been one. Mrs. Tiki God, I am really not 100% sure. I know people have lost to Knockout in an exploding barbed wire where one person got up and the other didn't. So that may be what you're thinking of, Mrs. Tiki God, because I believe in the Master of the Deathmatch tournament, the semifinal between Dick Tiki and Core Miller, Dick Tiki was able to answer the bell after the explosion and Core was not. So yeah, to go back to the question, Revelation X, I don't believe I have. At least not during the shows set for Twitch, anyway. And going back to, sorry, I'm kind of looking at my story Bible here for the league here, trying to see if I can get a reference on Karen's finisher. I do not have it. I think, if I remember right, Steel City, I believe it's kind of like a abdominal stretch and a choke sleeper, and it's administered on the mat, not standing. So I think it's that big, like, sleeper stretch thing that she does, if I remember correctly. So I hope that kind of Now you see, Steel City, I want to say Dick answered and Core didn't. So Revelation X, I don't run cage matches. I haven't run a cage match in months, to be honest, because I really don't like how they're set up on here. So, but yeah, especially the way the escape part is, the escape part is set up. I know I could probably run some cage matches with pinfall instead, but I I just have not been a fan of how the cage matches are set up on here. Okay. To move on, Harry Blackstone, he is, like I said, he is facing Captain Cheesecurd Thursday night. Winner of their match will have their third match of their winning streak, which puts them in line for an MFW title shot. An idea that I really like, that I am borrowing / stealing from Chikara, the 3-match win streak before getting a title shot. So, Harry Blackstone, the Chicago Wizard, a reference to the Dresden File books, book series, the Forzari kick. That's his version of the Shining Wizard. Steel City as a completely unbiased announcer and unbiased booker man, etc. I'm also kind of rooting for Harry. Not that I wouldn't like to see Captain get another shot, but I like the variety of other people in the title picture. So, we'll say that. Harry also not afraid to bust out a mess of dirty tricks. As you can see, one of his signature moves is the Goofy Spell. He also blows fire. He is a magician in the ring for sure. Hippie Joe, your local tree hugger, the man from the other side of the tracks, whichever side is dirtier. His finisher, the flashback, I believe is a kick combo. I know he's got kind of a crazy mixed up style. Knees kicks. Throws a Kokeshi. Mrs. Tiki God, Vic Sketch would actually know quite a bit better about Harry. He's the one that built him, but I know it's a bunch of references to a character in the Dresden Files series of books. So, not much more to say about Hippie Joe. He just recently had a big win last week over New Jill. Hadn't had much success thus far. Revelation X, I do have a few people set up for it. Doesn't happen real often. But if anything, it's usually the Frankensteiner to the outside. I wish those moves happened more often. It seems like no matter how I mess with logic, I don't see them too much. But I guess the silver lining behind that is then there's a pretty big pop for whenever it does happen. For MFW, I run all the matches as Sims, and I do match commentary over them. So I'm as surprised as anyone else, and I pop just like anyone else when something super cool like that happens. So, double checking here, and I believe I have finally covered everyone here on the roster. So, so we're going to kind of duck out of that screen. Go back to edits just in case there's anyone want to pull up. Yeah, and I actually don't have... Alright, so now this is where I admit I'm a little dumb and a little behind the 8 ball. I don't have everybody in... Well, I have everybody loaded to my roster. I don't have everybody loaded in as an edit so that I can tweak them yet. I got most of everybody, but not quite everybody. So, yeah, I only have 13 of the 24, so that's something I got to work on yet. Because I definitely want people and I definitely want the characters to kind of grow and evolve. Maybe learn some moves, drop some moves down the line, evolving movesets, evolving personalities and tendencies. So, yep, something I definitely got to get at yet. And yeah, I'm slacking. So, but now we're gonna move on to talking the story thus far. Steel City Fuzz. I am going to answer that with no. But there may be alternate attires that you see down the line. So I'll leave it at that. There's a couple irons in the fire as far as that's concerned. So hang on a quick second here. Thank you for that. Or thank you for allowing me a second to recharge there. So now we're going to go into MFW, the story being told, where we've been, which will kind of lead up to where we're going. Mrs. Tiki God, again, I'm going to answer yes. And you will see different outfits when the time is right. So I'm just gonna leave that there. So to recap the last 15 weeks of MFW action. Mrs. Tiki God, I thought I said yes. I apologize if I didn't. But yeah, there are other people on the roster with alternate outfits, and that's something to be revealed later on. So I hope that's a satisfactory answer. And Steel City Fuzz, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath on that one. So the first couple of weeks of MFW TV were focused on the MFW title tournament. 16 people were in it. The finals came down to pardon me. The finals came down to Benny Brandy, the old-fashioned one, and Big Man River the Barge. The Barge won that match and then was immediately challenged to defend the title by the caustic co-ed Holly Ames, who came up with a bunch of garbage that she was going to release all this personal information about the Barge, embarrass him in public, embarrass the company. Not knowing what she had up her sleeve, the Barge agreed, and Holly ran through him in roughly 5 minutes, if I remember correctly. And the same night that the Barge won the tournament, he did not leave the building as champion. Holly Ames did. So, that is what went down the first couple of weeks of MFW TV. Weeks 3 and 4 were the introduction of many of the tag teams that are on the roster. The Youpers, Unhappy Hour, which is Core Miller and Benny Brandy, Lucha del Norte, Steel City. That's a good question. That is a really good question. Perhaps we get an answer sometime, perhaps we don't. Other tag teams, Chicago Fire, that's New Jill and Harry Blackstone. The tag teams of the Enforcers, Yuri Grognoff and Sergeant SPG. The Haasmen, Dick Tiki and Buck Hunter. Trailer Thrash, Don Bucher and Karen Mothersbaugh. They all debuted later on. Not quite in that first month there. And I believe I just covered all the tag teams. Or all the active tag teams. Oh, and Animal House. How could I forget? Animal House, that is Flying Squirrel Victor Hinks and Rad Panda Sandy Lipner. Sandy Lipner we'll talk about in a little bit here. On the Week 5 show, the Barge regained the title from Holly Ames. He was given a title shot after the MFW front office did a thorough investigation of Holly Ames' claims, which rhymes, and found them baseless and without merit, and that it was pretty much all a ruse. So, Holly Ames was then taken to task, and that is when Yuri Grognoff came on the scene, brought into MFW by Red Hansen to teach Holly a lesson, and that didn't go over really well. Holly ended up defeating Yuri. On Week 3. So, sorry about the little pause there. Week 6 into Week 7. Week 6 had a couple of qualifiers for Week 7's Master of the Deathmatch tournament. There's 4 titles in MFW. There's the MFW Championship, the Master of the Deathmatch title, and now MFW Tag Team Champions. Those were just settled a couple weeks ago. Mrs. Tiki God, true. Definitely true. So Week 7 was the big Master of the Deathmatch tournament. And in the finals, Dick Tiki was defeated by that same caustic co-ed, Holly Ames. She's been very successful, even though not the greatest person. She will defend her MOD championship title Thursday night against Ultimo Pinguino. Let's see here. Week 8 was the first successful defense of the MFW title, where the Barge defeated and injured Captain Cheesecurd. He really wrecked his knee bad. After a critical submission knee bar, the captain still persevered for a couple of minutes, but the match ended up getting called by the referee Sandy Jenkins, and the Barge retained. And thus far, that is the only successful defense of the MFW title thus far. Let's see here. Week 9 was the Tag Team Extravaganza. There was 4 big tag team matches, and that was a lot of fun, a really good show. The teams featured that night were Trailer Thrash, Chicago Fire, the Enforcers, tag team that I forgot to mention earlier, Feet of Fury, which is Kane and Randy Goodneighbor, Animal House on Happy Hour, Lucha del Norte, the Haasmen, all on that show. Week 10, Holly got through a Mrs. Tiki God Either Works. Either is appropriate, to be honest. Week 10, Holly successfully got through a Proving Ground match. Proving Ground matches in the Master of the Deathmatch division are landmine death matches. Week 11 was the big Thanksgiving night show, and that was headlined by the Grateful 8 Rumble. The idea behind that was we took the 8 members of the roster with the worst records in singles competition and gave them a chance. The winner of the Rumble received a Proving Ground match that they could use for any championship down the line. Kind of put one in their pocket, if you will. And the winner of the Grateful 8 was Sandy Lipner, the Rad Panda, and we have yet to hear what she plans on doing with her Proving Ground match. A couple weeks ago on the show, she sent in a little note that simply said, "See you next year." And pardon me, folks. Just lost my written notes. That's awesome. Hooray! I'm prepared. But that's okay. So, Mrs. Tiki God, I do usually write it as feet, as in the last part of your leg. So, to answer that quick, shoot, I kind of forgot where I was at. So weeks 12 and 13. Oh, I was talking about Sandy Lipner on week 11. Yes, Mrs. Tiki God, you are correct. So, I was talking about Sandy winning the Grateful 8 Rumble. She sent a note to the announce station, me, I guess, a week or so ago, and it simply said, "See you next year." So I am hoping that now that it is next year, 2020, the year of the Mad Dog, so I've heard on the social medias, that we will find out what Sandy will do with her Proving Ground opportunity. Weeks 12 and 13 were the MFW Tag Team Title Tournament. The final was Lucha del Norte against the Haasmen, and the Haasmen came out victorious. So Dick Tiki and Buck Hunter are your first MFW Tag Team Champions. They have not defended the belts as of yet, mainly because no one has a 3-win streak yet. Things kind of resettled after the tag tournament, so all those teams are working back on working on building up and trying to get that 3-win streak so that they can get a shot at the Haasmen. Also on the week 13 show, Victor Hinks defeated the Barge for the MFW title, so now the Flying Squirrel is at the top of the mountain here in MFW. So he will have his first title defense soon, probably within a week or two, being that he will have a challenger set Thursday night, the winner of Captain Cheesecurd and Harry Blackstone. So, and then the week 14 show, that had Ultimo Pinguino getting through her Proving Ground match and earning that shot at the MOD title tomorrow night. It also had the Enforcers ordered into a handicap match by Red Hansen up against Minnesota from Lucha del Norte. Minnie had in weeks prior and actually during the tag team tournament as well. She had started taking cheap shots at people either at or right after the bell. And the front office was not excited about that version of sportsmanship. So she kind of got ordered into that match as a punishment. I don't believe the enforcers felt good about it or were happy being there, but that's the way it went down. And Steel City Fuzz definitely has an opinion about that match. Week 15 last week was headlined by the big grudge match. The Barge, Captain Cheese Curd back on his back to action after rehabilitating that injury. He had won a match on week 14 against Cal Jobert. Week 15, he got his hands on the Barge. A chance for revenge, a chance for redemption. And by golly, the captain won in quite the hard-hitting affair. Pretty crazy match. So that's kind of what's been going on, where we've been, and now to talk a smidge about where we're going. My plan is to keep producing entertaining shows Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I always shoot for my show to go around an hour so that it's a quick watch, and if folks miss it, it's not this huge time sink to go back and watch it. I like presenting it as TV, as a little contained thing, and Steel City, yeah, that is one take of how it went down. But yeah, the captain was really using the weight to his advantage there. That's for sure. Yeah, Mrs. Tiki God, keep the story going. Keep telling good stories. There's a chance that maybe... Well, this is just kind of what's in my head right now, but I want to share this. I'm thinking about maybe a really big card, perhaps a 2-hour stream, right around episode 26. And doing it something more as a pay-per-view. Trying to build up a card that would be really special. And I'd have a couple more months to tell some more stories before that. So, Steel City Fuzz, I would absolutely love that. But there's that magical barrier between the PC version and the PlayStation 4 version. And that would be the huge hurdle. When he was running... Port City Pro Gamblers channel, Mrs. Tiki God. Yeah, when he was planning the football or the college theme stuff, that's when I first pretty much got to know Gambler a little bit, because he had an all-call for characters. I reached out offering Holly Ames to get thrown in there, and he's like, nah, I'm on PC, and I was like, damn it, you know. So that's kind of how that all went down. I would love to, I'd love to do some collabs with people. But yeah, so in roughly 2.5 months time, so mid-March, maybe it'll be a St. Patty's Day pay-per-view. Or themed that way, I don't know. But I want to do something. I want to do one bigger card, and maybe it would be that every 6 months. I want to make it special if I'm going to do if I'm gonna do something big time, bigger scale than the 1 hour show. So so I guess I'm gonna start working on wrapping this up. So here comes the big hype for tomorrow night and all that jazz. So tomorrow night we have kind of a double main event. The big one being Holly Ultimo Penguino, Master of the Deathmatch title. Explosive barbed wire, exploding ring. Holly's first defense of the MOD title, and someone who can definitely hang with her. I'm super excited to see what happens there. Number one contenders match, by default, both coming in with 2 wins. Captain Cheese Curd against Chicago Wizard Harry Blackstone. Crazy styles clash there. Will all of Harry's tricks be able to keep him from getting pushed around by the captain? We're going to find out. And now another match announcement that has not been made public yet, but kicking off the show will be Hippie Joe and Cal Joe Bear. So we're going to see if Hippie Joe can extend his win streak after his big upset over New Jill last week. And also going to see if Cal Joe Bear can come up with win number 1. Should be interesting and actually a somewhat evenly matched match, I believe. So that'll be interesting. There will be a couple more matches on the card. There will be 5 matches tomorrow night. After that, we're going to kick it over to Gambler PCP with Port City Pro. He's got quite a card lined up there. Some more of the college/football guys back on again. I know there's a big 6-man tag. Also, the winner of the Gridiron Rumble, Rampage Hunter, is going to take on the PCP champ, Jenkins. So that's going to be a big one. Another big doubleheader. So, as far as where you all can get at me, on Facebook, Old School Old Fool Twitch, hit me with a friend request. On the Facebook, at Old School Old Fool, all lowercase, spelt the same way as the channel. Criticalclub.com, under the eFeds tab, there is an MFW thread. Facebook and Critical Club have all the previews, match results, etc., so forth. Balls Jabroni, man, you never know. I will definitely say there are some surprises set up for the new year, and we'll leave it there. So with that, thanks to everybody who stopped by. Thanks, Revelation X. I'm gonna have to check out what you do, because sounds like you stream Fire Pro as well. Check that out. Hope to see everybody Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, for MFW episode 16, New Year's Fire. And with that, this is Old School Old Fool signing off. Have a great New Year, y'all.